serious? Hi gorgeous, Sabrina here. As promised, I'm going to be showing you the entire dupe list for the LORAC MegaPro Palette in this video. I spent a good amount of time over the past couple days duping out this palette. The good news is that it's extremely dupeable. So for those who were not able to get this palette, using some of the eyeshadows that I'm going to be showing you today will give you a very similar look. Now, before we get into the whole dupe list, there were only 3 eyeshadows in this palette that I was not able to find dupes for. And those are Mulberry, Khaki, and Dusty Rose. So those are the only 3 that I will not be showing you dupes for, unfortunately. But if you know of any dupes for those, please feel free to share them below. And before we get into the list, there are 4 re-promote shades in this palette. 4 that are from LORAC Pro No. 1 and LORAC Pro No. 2, and they are Cream, White, Espresso, and Black. And I also feel like Caviar, which was another black eyeshadow in this palette, is exactly the same as Black in this palette. The 2 are identical. So for Caviar, we're going to include that in a re-promote list because there's nothing special about that eyeshadow. For Fawn, the dupe for it is Max Bamboo. Both are a matte orange-brown neutral. These 2 are both matte eyeshadows, no difference whatsoever between each of them. Next eyeshadow up for duping is Camel, and the dupe for this one is makeupgeek's Creme Brulee. Basically just an orange tinged eyeshadow. This is a matte finish. And then we have Sepia. Sepia's dupe is Max Soft Brown. Soft Brown is a little bit more pigmented compared to Sepia, but they're basically one and the same eyeshadow. Then Dusty Plum, which has a dupe in Max Ho eyeshadow. For the eyeshadow Brown, the dupe is Max Corduroy eyeshadow. For Stone, the dupe for this one is the eyeshadow Cool Gray, and you can find this in the LORAC Pro 2 palette. For the shade called Lilac, I read on Google that a good dupe for it is Inglot's 346. Unfortunately, this is not a shade that I own, but it is definitely a dupe. I did see some side-by-side comparisons on Google of these 2. The dupe for Wisteria in the MegaPro palette is Laura Mercier's Plum Smoke. That is an individual eyeshadow that you can purchase from Laura Mercier. For Gray, the dupe is makeupgeek's Stealth eyeshadow. And this is the absolute closest that I could find by comparison. For Opal, this is a yellow tinged shimmery eyeshadow, and the dupe for it is Max Nylon. For the eyeshadow Sand from the MegaPro palette, this is actually a dupe for another eyeshadow in the MegaPro palette, and that is Cashmere. Cashmere and Sand are one and the same eyeshadow, so it's kind of surprising to see them grouped together in the MegaPro palette. And for Cashmere, that dupe is L'Oreal's Iced Latte or Stila's Kitten eyeshadow. So for Cashmere or Sand, you can use L'Oreal's Iced Latte or Stila's Kitten. For Copper, this is not a copper shade at all. It's actually more of an amber orange shade, very comparable to Max Amber Light's eyeshadow. Sienna's dupe is makeupgeek's Homecoming, and while they are not exactly the same, this is the closest I could get by comparison. Apricot, and while this looks like an orange eyeshadow in the pan, it's actually a little bit more pink by comparison. So the dupe for this one is makeupgeek's Cosmopolitan eyeshadow. For blush, the closest I could get is Urban Decay's Dust, and while it's slightly off in color and in formula a little bit, it is the closest that you will get in a color match. For Merlot, I was so incredibly happy to find a dupe for this in makeupgeek's Burlesque eyeshadow. Identical shade completely. Indigo, this is a little bit more of a unique eyeshadow. It is one of the most unique ones in the palette, but it does have some very noteworthy dupes. First one being Catalyst from Stila's In the Moment palette. You could also try Max Dark Soul Pigment. I don't have this one on hand, but that one is supposed to be a dupe for it also. You can also try MakeupGeek's Drama Queen, which is not as close as Stila's Catalyst, but it'll still give you the same effect. Vanilla's dupe is Urban Decay's Bobby Dazzle from the Vice 3 palette. Also, if you have any shimmery white eyeshadow, that would be a really great dupe for Vanilla. For Smoky Topaz, After Hours from Too Faced is an excellent dupe. For Granite, the closest that I could get was Max Carbonized. Carbonized is a limited edition eyeshadow, so if you don't have that one, you could also try Max Mulch in its place. For maroon, the dupe is Max Sable. This is simply just a red-brown eyeshadow. For deep teal in the MegaPro palette, the dupe for that one is Urban Decay's Loaded, which is actually a much better eyeshadow compared to LORAC's Deep Teal, which is not that pigmented. It doesn't go onto the eyes as it looks in the pan, but Loaded is actually a much better version of what Deep Teal was probably supposed to be in the MegaPro palette. Additionally, I will also be putting the blog post link below with all of the pictures that I shared with you in today's video if you want to reference them in the future. Hope you found this helpful and let me know of any dupes that you find in this palette as well. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.
I know.